think I found one of the worst movies of 2020, and it is definitely not a scary one. Before I get into one of the worst movies of the year, please like the video, please subscribe if you haven't already. It means the world to me. You guys are liking the video, subscribe to the channel, you guys are the best. One of the worst movies of 2020 is The Empty Man. The Empty Man was crapshooted by 20th Century Studios that is now owned by Disney, and they just threw it out in the middle of the pandemic where no one is going to the movie theaters, and they just figured that no one would know about this movie next year or from 2 years from now, so might as well throw it out there, see what sticks, see if people actually watch it, and maybe they'll make some money back, because they know that no one is going to watch this movie if it was normally being put out right now. This is based on the Empty Man comic series that I've never even heard of before. I tried doing some research on it. I didn't really find that much all about it. I think you just gotta read them and just see for yourself. It sounds like it's just like this movie that I just watched, so maybe it has a good adaptation. I'm not really sure. Even if this was a good adaptation of the Empty Man comics, this movie is a total piece of garbage. Why I think this movie is a piece of garbage? Well, let's just start with the Empty Man himself. The Empty Man is probably worse than Slender Man, than the Bye Bye Man. I found it so uninteresting the entire time. There was so many cool concepts that they introduced in this movie that really could have worked. Like, if they boil it down, had really interesting writing, good acting, and a really good scare factor, I think this would have worked. But the entire time, I felt so bored of this movie with its 2-hour and 17-minute runtime. This movie is longer than the first It film. That's a problem. Normally, when studios are gonna crapshoot a horror film because they know it's bad, they clock it in around 90 minutes. Oh wait, this movie, they just did the same thing to New Mutants. Go figure, right? The Empty Man has like these weird, strange powers that they don't really introduce. The Empty Man is kind of this leader of this like cultish group. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what the hell this movie is. Horror is honestly so laughably bad. The director, David Prior, this is his first film, and I know he's really trying his best in this movie, but to be honest, it just doesn't work for me. I felt as though that the horror was completely missed. There are just so many mainstream jump scare ideas that get thrown in here that are just poorly timed. There are so many wasted jump scare opportunities that aren't very clever. They're not very cool in any sense. There's so many times where there's actually pretty decent of tension built up, but then they just miss the jump scare constantly. And I don't know if that was due to a budget reasons or they just didn't figure out how to do it. I'm not sure, but there's a lot of wasted opportunities in here. Felt like it was just so bland. It was so boring. And anytime there was a scary moment, I just felt nothing towards it. This could be really due to the really bad directing in this film. There are so many really bad shots that just don't create any atmosphere at any point in this film. I felt as though that it was just cut away in so many points. There's so much bad and bland directing where it just cuts to one character, back to the other character. It's just the same thing over and over again. The editing is honestly probably the worst of the year. It was edited so terribly that it was just so beyond noticeable, and it really affected those scary scenes because it's just so choppy, and you can tell that that's not that scene that would correlate to the next scene. When you have really bad editing, especially in a horror film, it's really going to show, and it's going to be so laughably bad. I was just laughing my butt off in the theater. Cinematography is absolutely disgusting in this movie. Nothing about this movie looks good. There's nothing creepy or dark about this movie. It tries to be that way. It tries to have that Hereditary cinematography where that movie's supposed to look the way it is. And this movie just doesn't do that at all. It's bland, it's pale, and it's just something that I wish I just turned my eyes off. Music is so overbearing. I tell you what, the music was so loud and so annoying, and it was just so inappropriately used. It's like, boom, 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 yeah, we're scary, boom, boom. No, you're not scary. You're just annoying, and you're just trying to captivate to an audience that isn't the audience. Maybe if this movie was a PG-13 movie, which this movie easily could have been a PG-13 movie, and I have no idea why they didn't make this a PG-13 movie, because they could have just cut out just certain scenes, and I think they probably could have get away with it. But when you're going for an adult rated R audience, what is with this boom boom music that you're doing? It is truly disgusting, and it's just flat stupid. Characters are so beyond dumb in this movie, and they are written to be in this mysterious aspect. So the whole entire time, you only can find out what happens at the end of the film, because there's so many little hints and a little bit of subtext that you're missing throughout the film. And so that's what kind of kept me intrigued. But then when you get to the end of the film, it makes zero sense. They given this BS stupid reason of why this is the way it is, and it feels like it's trying to go for an M. Night Shyamalan twist ending that the entire time was something cool and something different, and it just doesn't work at all. Looking back on the whole rest of the movie, there are so many plot holes. There are so many things that just don't make any sense. And there's nothing about it that makes me want to go back and try to discover this movie because of all the bad things I was just listing before. The movie is a boring black hole that feels like there's nothing to it. I feel as though that this really long runtime and the terrible horror and the decent story that could have been utilized well just doesn't work for me at all. There's so many subplots that are introduced to this movie that really don't go anywhere, and it feels like I wasted my time at the movie theater, and I would not give this movie a watch. I'm going to give this movie a big fat 1 out of 10. If you guys really enjoy this review, let me know down below. Do you want to see The Empty Man? Do you even know what The Empty Man is? Are you going to go watch the trailer now? Have you read the comics? I want to know all of that down below. As always, I'll see you guys in the next video.